Hello, this is Reza Rad from Radacad. In this video, I'm going to talk about a Git integration with Power BI and Microsoft Fabric, how this helps with version controlling, source controlling, and we are going to see an example of how this is done. Let's go and check it out. Let's start with talking about why do we need a source control. In application development projects, in anywhere that you write a code or develop a piece of program, it is quite important that you can maintain that version of the code or that version of the file you are working with, so that you can revert back to it at some point. Like the code that you have developed like a month ago was for a different requirement. Now you developed some more changes on top of it to meet the new requirement, but what if there's a problem and you want to revert back to that old version? The ability to keep the source code somewhere and version it so that it is maintained in there and you can access it again. This ability is called source control, version control. They both are kind of the same. And it is not only for yourself, it is also helpful for a team of developers so that multiple people can work on different branches of the code and then they can merge it to the main branch. Throughout many years, the version controlling and source controlling has had platforms that people used, such as SourceSafe, such as Team Foundation Server, Azure DevOps, GitHub. There are different places that you can do this source control. Now, this video is about Power BI and Microsoft Fabric integration with source control. And Power BI and Microsoft Fabric, they support at the moment only Azure DevOps and Git as the source control platform. So this means that to use this, you would need to have access to Azure DevOps, of course. So I'll open up my window here. So first you'll need, of course, an Azure DevOps account. Azure DevOps is an environment that is not just for source controlling. It is more around like application lifecycle management. So you can define projects. In each project, not only you can maintain the source code, but you can also have like a task board. You can assign people to tasks, and you can follow like the agile process of like a stand-up sprints and things like that, repository to keep the files and branches, pipelines for deployment, different test plans. So it is much more than the source control. But what we are looking into today is the source control part of it. To use the source control part of it, Azure DevOps itself uses two different source control engines. One of them is Git, the other one is Team Foundation version control. And at the moment, Power BI and Microsoft Fabric only supports Git. So what is the process? The process is usually that you go and create a new project in Azure DevOps. I can call this test workspace project. It's a private project. And here is the important part that you say it is a Git version control. And you create it. So just as simple as that. This is a blank project at the moment. So I can then connect it to a workspace that I have in Power BI and Fabric. One thing about this is that because it doesn't have any files in it, it doesn't even have a main branch. So I'll go to the repos part. I can start copying things into that and creating the main branch, or I can initialize it so that it creates a main branch for me with a README file. So I'll do that. And as soon as I initialize it, it creates a README file, just some general information about Azure DevOps and things like that. Now I have a main branch. Here you can see this is a main branch, and I can use that in Microsoft Fabric or Power BI. Inside Microsoft Fabric or Power BI, I can go to a workspace and, for example, just to show you how this is done. Now these workspaces that I have already, they are assigned to a Git Azure DevOps project. I'll probably go and create just a new workspace just to show you how this is. Test workspace 2023, 11, 15. and I make sure that this is a Fabric capacity workspace. Now this workspace might have some items in it, but mine is just blank. Then I go to workspace setting, and in workspace setting we have a section for Git integration. So that's just like that. So first you need to make sure that you have your Azure DevOps account here, which is what I have. Then under organization, I can choose that. Under project, I'll choose my project, which is the one that I just created. The Git repository of that usually is the name of the project, and then the branch, main branch. I can create a new branch right here, but I'll just stay and keep it with the main branch. Then I connect and sync. So that's as simple as that. Sometimes, however, when you click on connect and sync, you get an error message that the workspace is in a different region than the Azure DevOps project. So if that is the case, then you need to ask the Power BI admin or Microsoft Fabric admin to go to the admin portal. One of the settings here is for cross geo, or let me just search for geo. Probably I'll find it easier like that. So yeah, here it is. It is under Git integration, and you can actually enable this only for a specific group of people if you want, which is then saying that you can have this cross geo enabled. If that is the case, then even if they are in different geographic location, they would be able to sync. Now I'll show you an example of a synced project. So here is a workspace that is already synced. I'll go to the workspace setting. In the Git integration part of it, you see this is already connected to the main branch of Fabric test workspace, which is what I have in here, Fabric test workspace. And when you sync it, when you sync the project, then you see something like this. So you see this Git status showing that is it synced or not synced. You see some files that are unsupported. That is because not every Fabric item type is already supported for the Git integration. For example, reflex item is not, or warehouse is not, but this is at the time of creating this video. This is a very recent feature, and even last week we didn't have Lakehouse or Notebook, so they added very recently. In the Microsoft documentation, it says Power BI report, page generated report, and dataset, which is now called semantic model. But now, as you can see, it is supporting Notebook and Lakehouse as well. So I imagine this would support much more items in here. So in addition to that Git status, you would also see something at the bottom here saying that which branch you are connected to, what is the last date and time of syncing. You would also see this button here, which shows like a status of what is source controller status. So everything is at the moment synced. So the 0 here means that there is nothing to commit as a change. But if there's a change, and I can just make a change so that we can see that, I'll go and find a report that we can probably make a change on it. So like this report, let's go and edit this so that we can just make a change and see how that change would work. So this is a paginated report, so it might take a little time to load. Same is possible for the normal report as well. Okay, while this is coming, I might just go and open a normal report as well. One thing to notice here is that not every Power BI report is supported. For example, this is a report connected to a live stream dataset, so that is not yet supported. So just normal Power BI report, even if this live connection is supported, but not live stream reports. Okay, so I'll open this report too. And looking at paginated reports, it is still coming up. Probably the report itself would load faster. Here it is, the report. So I'll just go and edit it so that we have a change. For example, I'll probably just remove this for now and save it. just so that we have something changed. The page generated report is still loading, so let's not worry about it. I'll come back here and you see that now it shows a number 1 in here, showing that something has changed. When I click on it, it shows the list of items that has changed, and here I can see that there is an icon here showing that this is modified. You can then select it, saying that, well, I want to commit this change. You put some commentary around it, remove the extra chart or something like that, and then commit. So when you do that, commit that change, this is pushing that change, and it might be multiple items, not just one. So this change is now pushed to the DevOps, and under here, under repos, I can go and see all the items that is pushed here. If I go to the history, I can even see the history of changes. So the first time that the main branch is created, some commit changes, and this is the last one that I just committed. If I click on it, then it shows here what has been changed, like the details on the visualization of that file, which you can see it side by side or in line, the configuration. So it is clearly showing that I had something that is now removed. Right. What if you want multiple developers to work with it? So that part is requiring a process. So usually you don't just push the changes or commit the changes to the main branch. Usually we create new branch, and you can create new branch when you are actually assigning it to a workspace. So for example, I can, as a developer, I can create a new workspace and then assign it to a new branch. I create a new branch, and then I develop my things under that new branch, push it that or commit that changes, and then finally in here we come and merge those branches into the main branch. So this is one of those features that you need to be careful about the process much more than the actual feature. The feature enables you to do version controlling, source controlling, reverting back to the previous changes, multiple developers working with it, but the process in which you define and say, well, each developer create a branch, and then someone is controlling those branches, changes, and merging them back to the main branch, or keeping them as parallel branches, things like that is the process that you need to define. And this video is not, the time in this video is not enough to go through that part, so I'll probably talk about it in another video. So here we have version controlling in Power BI and Microsoft Fabric. It is enabled by Azure DevOps and Git integration. It's really simple to use. Reverting back to the older version might require going to the Azure DevOps itself, finding that branch, and then assigning your workspace to that branch. It requires a defining a process so that you can make sure that you keep those versions in a tidy and nice process, and you can follow that process with your developer team. But the feature enables you to do that. In next videos, I might go and explain about some of the best practices of these managing branch as well. Until the next video, if you have any questions, feel free to ask it in the comments below. If you like our video, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have weekly videos on Microsoft Fabric and Power BI. Until the next video, bye.